Peace, shalom, assalamu alaikum, hotep, namaste, jumbo, ashe, all the greetings of love and light to the darkest minds of the light. I am NapahShadah, and thank you so much for joining me for this live. And if you're just listening to the playback, thank you. I have some things that have been on my mind. I did not do my sit down today. I mentioned that I'm taking a kind of type of hiatus just because of some things that I'm clearing out as far as my spirit and just some healing. But that doesn't mean that I don't want to interact with my beautiful YouTube family, my internet audience. So I was thinking today, I've been wanting to do this stream and just kick around, so to speak, the idea of sound. I've spoken about sound before, that everything is sound. Light is sound. What we're dealing with when we talk about light, it's magnetic. Well, excuse me, it's electromagnetic resonance, right? So that's all sound, really, when you break it down. And sound is very powerful. Everything is sound. From the beginning, from every creation story, we know sound is there. We know sound is there. We know we move on a frequency. I always say you have to look at the microcosm to see the macrocosm. Sometimes the world beyond is too big to see. It's too vast and unfathomable. So you can actually look at your world that you're in, the realm that you exist in, which is the microcosm. And when you do that, you say, okay, this has to be a reflection. Peace to Hootie. This has to be a reflection of the macrocosm, which is the bigger world. Everything is circular. Everything is connected. Everything. And everything is on a vibration. Everything works through vibration, I should say, not just one vibration, but we do have one universal mind of the unfathomable God. And that universal mind is also called the spark, the spark of life. And that's all sound. So when we look at like I say in the title, sound and soul, why do I say sound and soul? Because you think about your soul and what it is. And then that's another conundrum. We've already gone from sound is everything, and now we say, what is our soul? The soul is part of your consciousness. And then we say, what is consciousness? So they're like the babushka Russian dolls. You open one up and there's another one in, and another conversation, and another conversation. That's the beautiful thing about it. There's infinite conversations to be had about such things. And when we think about these things and when we speak on them, that's what helps us vibrate high. Vibrate high on a higher frequency. It's all sound. So soul, what is my soul? Well, I've said this before. We have that one spark, which is actually just still a vibration of sound, which to help us fathom, to help us try to wrap our minds around how the unfathomable God gives power to us in this realm, a life force, I should say. So we look at that electromagnetic resonance, that light, that spark. And then what we do is that spark is given to us in this existence, in this realm. That spark is given to us, and we, meaning each individual, we start to play on it. We play on that instrument of the spark, on that light, on the universal mind of God. We start to actually play on it. And when I say play, I mean like playing on an instrument, like even if you want to say beating on a drum. And each individual, the beautiful thing is we light onto that vibration, the spark, and then we use our consciousness to draw um uh to, to start to imprint our souls. So I say draw, I'm not saying draw like pull, I meant draw like art, like, taking your hand and moving around with some type of tool and making an image. So let me not say draw. We imprint or start to build our soul onto the universal spark, which is really all the spark is sound. Okay. I don't want you to see spark as like, oh, she's mean spark light, but light is still sound. And that's not, we can back that up with science. Then I want to go too deep into that. I want to stay on what I'm talking about. So we have the spark, and then we're given that spark, we're given that vibration at conception in the womb. Of course, even science says there's a flash of light. They say it's phosphorus. Whatever it is, there's a flash of light at conception. So we have that spark, and then we immediately start to imprint, build our soul onto the spark. It's fascinating. We're building like little termites building their mounds and their complex living quarters, you know. So we start to build our soul onto this universal spark, onto the universal mind of the unfathomable God, onto that vibration. And we do that with our consciousness. How do we do it with our consciousness? Well, our consciousness draws other sound, other energy, sound. I'm going to take it all back to sound. And that that vibration from the consciousness is what we use. It's a tool we use to not only siphon the resonant siphon sound or energy, not only to siphon it onto the spark to build our own soul, but also to uh how do you say, conduct. So we push it out. So our consciousness is a conduit, it brings in, and our consciousness is a conductor, it sends out. Very good, very interesting, because even when you send out energy, you're using your consciousness to build your soul. And the interesting thing is you have many lifetimes, and those many lifetimes, each lifetime you have a soul, a different soul for each lifetimes. Let that resonate. No pun intended. Okay, let that sink in. See how that resonates with you. You have many souls as your one individual self. Okay, so that's why you can see a lot of symbolism about snakes and birds. They all have these attributes, but you think of the snake with the many scales, the birds with the many feathers. And it is said that the snake, the reptile, is the great great ancestor of the bird, right? There's a link there too, but you got the scales, and that's symbolic of your one self, but you have many souls. Oh, I'm getting a call. Dang it. Give me a second. Okay, sorry about that. Can everybody hear me? Peace to everybody. Peace, Tony. I'm trying to process this whole life and death thing. It's tough. Yeah. And you know what? I can get to that. Peace, Octavius. Peace, Tootie. Cannibal Cage. Peace. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed to the channels. Please go subscribe to my Nepal the Oris channel. I wanted to build that one up. But you don't have to leave right now. But I want to stay on this. Peace, Marquise. Or Marquis. Charlie Ogun, Lowry, peace. So, Tony, the whole life death thing, right? You know, I was talking about very many different souls, but remember, I'm not saying that you're more than one entity, or you're never more than one of who you are. You have essentially you're one. You're one. So when I don't want to confuse anybody, like she said, we're several different souls. I'm just one person. I'm just one being. You are one being, but as you go through, as you keep returning, because you do return, you really never leave. But that's okay. Let me give you some information that I am discovering. We are all one. There's time isn't linear. Okay, it's circular, and it isn't even uh, infinite. Time is quite finite. It's a construct that we've been inserted into with our consciousness, and we let ourselves believe that we are in time. We are not in time. We are actually existing all as one in one moment. We are what people say dead. We're alive. We're born. We're old. We're every single time that we left each material body, that you've had, you've left it and you've been into another body. There are many of us, if not all of us here, especially if you're a dark, profound mind that is illuminated and seeking knowledge. So if you're one of the darkest minds of the light, you've had so many different bodies in this realm. In this realm. See, when you hear about the string theory, there's a theory that, okay, we're existing here, and then in another dimension, we're also existing. That's true, but the reason is there is no real separation. Then people say, wait, what are you talking about? There's no separation. You're confusing. I don't want to confuse. When I say no separation, I want you to see you as a whole existence. You know, when you read about, when you read about the almighty, unfathomable God, or especially in the Torah, it says there is no beginning and there is no end. Well, we came from that spark, correct? We do have a beginning, though. We do have a beginning, but we really don't have an end. Once we came from that spark, there's no way to end us. We do see a lot of stuff and a lot of writing, and things are painful, and we lose loved ones, and there's things written like your life will end and this will happen and your life will begin and it ends. But really, there was only one beginning when we came from the unfathomable mind of God, the spark, and now we are forever infinitely existing. Now, when Tony said she's still trying to wrap her mind around this life death thing, we all are, but we can sit back and it's easy to accept if you really think about it, because we can look at what we have. Remember, we have to look at the microcosm. We know that energy does not die. We know that. So we build from there. And we know that even the material flesh doesn't disappear. It decomposes. It might be burnt and turned into a different type of composition, and it's distributed throughout the universe, not the universe, but the universe, I guess you could say that, but distributed throughout the earth and the sky and the ether. There is skin in clouds. That's dust. There is stars have a very similar composition. When you look at the makeup of a star, many metals and different type of chemical compounds are they match the chemical makeup of humans, of us, especially when you look at like carbon and selenium and copper and things of such. So we're not just bound to the earth. We are existing everywhere and in every way. So when you look at death, you do understand it hurts so badly. But when you realize, it hurts when you lose someone, but you must realize it is only the flesh body that has, um, it starts to disappear, it decomposes. And it takes a while for that to happen. By the way, talking about sound and soul, we're talking about the vibration of energy in an organism, in the human body. Especially the bigger the body is, the longer it takes for all that energy to leave. A good week for an adult. It's a good week for an adult body to fully, for all of the energy, all of the soul energy to dissipate, to be, to come out of that body and go into a different energetic state, so to speak. I guess you could say, yeah, because the energy is distributed differently, but it's still there. And so then what happens with that energy? Well, I suspect a lot of different things. I suspect the energy, the person, you could say the soul of the person, because remember, the spirit slash soul of the person was built off of the spark of the unfathomable God, the universal mind. So that spark that comes to for everything to exist, that spark that's given, the individual that the spark has been given to, that individual starts to immediately build a soul through that individual's consciousness. And so once that body, that flesh body, can no longer sustain the spark, which the soul is attached to in a sense because it's building off of it, both the spark and the soul exit. But the spark is very interesting. It can go in and out anyway. Well, not in and out, but the spark is really outside and inside and everywhere, because we're talking about the universal um, mind of the unfathomable God. So really focus on the soul, right? So there is scientific information back this up for those who are like, this is pseudo. We have Hamaroff. I've talked about Dr. Hamaroff very much, very often, and um, Dr. Sir Roger Penrose. Um, Sadly, I didn't get a chance to interview him with my brother Esoteric, but we were working on getting an interview set up with Sir Roger Penrose. Hopefully, we can still get that done for Esoteric's channel and for our Portal Network. But I digress. So please go subscribe to Esoteric Thoughts and to Killer Priest Podcraft. By the way, shout out to the Portal Network. Anyway, so there is scientific information on this, that Dr. Hamaroff, he does research on microtubules, and microtubules, they hold this type of, I guess you could say, life force or energy, which could be most possibly consciousness, they say. But for me, I don't specifically think it's consciousness only. I believe it's a combination of what I'm saying is the soul, which is built by our consciousness. So when death occurs, that energy leaves the microtubules, or under anesthesia, there's research showing that the microtubules, that the energy, there's an effect that the energy, that the anesthetic process of anesthetizing affects the microtubules. So there's some science behind that. But anyway, so yes, the Ka is spirit, is a Ka, and soul is about. Great. Yes. So there is a distinction. So Kaaba, Kabbalah, Merkaba. So the Kabbal, the Kaaba stone, right? So anyway, yeah, so really, when you look at death, and it's not, death sounds so final, But when you look at that, we'll use the word death. When you look at death in that way, it's not final at all. It's just a changing of the material self, putting on new garments, taking off and putting on, and existing. Very interesting. Yeah. So I just was thinking about that soul, because soul is really connected to sound. And sound isn't just something that you pick up with your ear. Sound is, you have a heart, you have heart neurons that work astonishingly, phenomenally. You can connect with someone through the telephone, or through the cell phone, or through FaceTime. So, you can literally connect physically with someone through your heart. Oh, sorry about that. Through your heart neurons. There are neurons in the heart. I repeat, there are neurons in the heart. And you also have a type of neurological makeup in your gut. So you want to align all three minds: the gut mind, the heart mind, and the head mind. And you align. And that's what's beautiful about your spine, which holds, like, basically from your cranial to your sacral, from your top of your head to the base of your spine, where your so-called tailbone is. You've got this beautiful instrument called a spine, and it's very similar to a lot of instruments that we play. The vertebrae, it's like keys on a piano almost, or like a xylophone, and then that's all. It catches tunes. I gotta go, though. I love you all. I'm getting another call. Peace to the beautiful darkest minds of the light. I might go live again, who knows? But if not, I want you to have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I'll talk to you soon.